And I wanted to start by asking Brother Trevon, is he here? To read out some of these facts that have been compiled regarding deaths in custody, just so that you have the full context as to the reason why we are here. You know, we tried to stage this event twice in North London, and on 2 occasions, the venues were pulled from us. And it surprised me initially because the objective of this evening is for us as black people to come together to discuss solutions and policy as to how we can influence the fact that no more members of our community should and must lose their lives in custody. And when you look at what the word custody means, it means the protective care or guardianship of someone or something. So we're not saying that members of our community do not commit crime, because we know we do commit crime, right? But it's not for the police to take justice into their own hands. It is for them to safely secure those who they are arresting and to maintain their presence if the person is being remanded in custody until they can be presented before a court of law. It's not for them to end up dead, is it, dear brothers and sisters? So do we want to see this happen anymore? So the mere fact that we're here tonight is an intelligent step, wouldn't you agree? Yes. So why would then the police interfere with us coming together to discuss that which is going to prevent this from happening in the future? If you're engaged in organizing a neighborhood watch on your street, what neighbor of yours would protest against that other than one who is housing a burglar? Because we should be all interested in our homes not being burgled, right? That's right. So who wouldn't attend that meeting, or who would object to such a meeting? So all of that to say, we've had to leave from North London and have this meeting here. Why? Because the police can't stop us from having our meeting here in this building. And there's a bigger sign in all of this for all of us. The sign really is we got to stop renting people's building who don't have our best interests at heart. I don't think some of you heard me. We have been trying to get justice in this country ever since the soles of our feet have trodden on these lands. Now, we can't rent space from those who have been denying us justice to plan, how we're going to achieve the objective. If we can't come together and put our little money together to secure buildings wherein we can discuss true freedom, then we're really not serious about true freedom and justice and liberation. Would you agree? Yeah. So tonight we have this esteemed panel, and I'm going to ask Brother Trevon just to read out some facts as to what has happened to us whilst we've been in the custody of police over a protracted period of time. Brother Trevon.
Greetings there, family. Just in terms of deaths in custody, since 1990, 1,476 people have died in police custody. But it's been 45 years since a police officer was last successfully prosecuted for a death in custody. That would take us way back to 1969. In 2011, black people from black and other ethnic minority groups accounted for 27.2% of all deaths in custody, though they accounted for just 14% of the general population. And according to official London Metropolitan figures, half of all people tasered in 2012 were black people. So that's showing you the level of violence that's used against black people in particular. Also, we all know about stop and search and how much more likely we are to be stopped and searched. They said black people are half as likely to use drugs as white people, but 6 times as likely to be stopped and searched for them. Also, in terms of sentencing, because it goes wider than just the police, in terms of sentencing, black people on average receive a sentence 7 months longer than white people for similar offences. These are official government statistics. All right, so I'm going to hand you back to our brother Hilary Muhammad, and I pray you enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you. we also have members of the Bennett family who are the family members of brother Derek Bennett, who was shot 5 times in the back, 4 times in the back. And we just want to welcome his family who is here. Let's please welcome them with a big round. So brothers and sisters, we're going to begin with the questions that have been prepared for us this evening. And the first question we're going to ask Brother Respect Firebingi. Everybody all right? See, those are the kind of names, if we send our children to these local schools, that these teachers should learn to wrap their tongue around. Everybody all right? So the first question is, why are members of our community so often the victims of death in custody? Police custody particular, and in comparison to other communities. Brother Respect.
Evening, family.
Evening, sir.
Well, I'm going to start this answer with saying that anytime you want to know what's happening, the reason why something is the way in the present, you have to go to the past. And I think that if we study history, we can clearly see that since our interaction, since our very being on this part of the planet, we have been prisoners of war. Until this day, we as black people, whether we recognize it or not, are prisoners of war. The taking of black people from our homeland all around the world was an unprovoked act of war. There was no such thing as a slave ship, because they did not take slaves from Africa. They took men, women, architects, doctors, and nation builders. A slave was something that was created in order for them to keep the system that they have right now. But some of us, I would never call myself a descendant of slaves. I'm a descendant of prisoners of war. Yeah, and I didn't come on no slave ship. I came on a prisoner of war ship. And I think that's a very important difference for us to make, especially for our youth, for us to see and have some pride in ourselves. The reason why we are affected in police brutality more than everyone else is because the police on the streets right now are acting as terrorists. And definition backs my statement. This isn't a blind statement that I'm just making. Terrorism is someone who applies their agenda by intimidation or force. When police apply their agenda with black youth on the road, 9 times out of 10, it is by intimidation and force. 9 times out of 10, they have no reasonable grounds to stop and search that youth. They did not see, smell, touch, or hear something that directly linked that youth to a crime. They just saw, and based upon their own prejudices, they acted. So I think the reason why our members of our community are victims of death on the level that we are is because our community needs to understand, the youth and the elders, that we are prisoners of war and we must be acting in a way that is productive for our community. So if we don't have the industries and institutions, the institutions to teach our children and the industries to fund those institutions, we're never going to be respected by the system.
Thank you, Brother Minka.